Hello and welcome back. A few days ago, last week, I think, Rick Davies, co-founder of Supertramp, passed away. It was a very sad moment. Supertramp has lots of fans worldwide. It was a very successful band during the late 70s and early 80s. And Keith's disease made me pull out their albums from the shelves and play them once more. I played the 7 core albums in a row. And I still like Supertramp the way I did when I was a teenager or a young man. And I suppose many of you do. So I decided to make a video ranking their albums, but not from worst to best, because I think all Supertramp albums have something to bring to the table. The things I like on all of them. So they are presented in order of enjoyment. The ones I like the least to the ones I like the most. The ones I play the least to the ones I play the most. Let me know what you think about my ranking. Which one is yours, and what you think about the albums. We will also talk about pressings. You know, I always do pressing to help you find good sounding albums in case you don't have very good Supertramp albums to this day. Let's get into it. Okay, Indelibly Stamped. And I think this is the only gatefold Supertramp album. To tell you the truth, I bought it for the cover when I was at school. I had a neighbor who had a copy, and I loved going round to his house to have a look at the cover. The music, of course, had nothing to do with the cover, you know. But when you're 13 or 14, you know, you get shocked by things like this. It's my least favorite Supertramp album. There are moments here when you can tell where the band is heading to, but still, some of the other songs are not quite there, and you know, it's not an album I enjoy from beginning to end. Let's have a look at the tracks. Side one, we've got the Papa Don't Mind. It's a rock and roll. It's very well done. It's got the Supertramp's signature sound, quite enjoyable. Travel is also a very nice song, right? Very moody, which is okay. And then followed by Rosie Had Everything Planned, which is my favorite song from the album. A very acoustic and very ethereal song, right? The Frank co-wrote with Roger Hodgson. But then to me, it's way down, right? It's downhill from there, right? I don't like Remember. I don't like Forever. Side 2 starts with Potter, which is a British rock, right? But it could have been any other band. Coming Home to See You is not that bad. Times Have Changed. It's a good track. This is very Supertramp-like. It's rather intense, right? Lyrically and musically. I don't care very much about Friend in Need. And to me, the sad thing about this album is the last track, which is 7 minutes long, right? And most of it, according to the band, is just improvisation. To me, it drags on, and it stops me from playing the album more often. Right, so this would be number 7. Number 6. This one, Famous Last Words. This is the last collaboration, as you know, between Roger Hodgson and Rick Davies. The last album together. It's got fantastic artwork. All Supertramp albums have fantastic artwork. But it came out after Breakfast in America, which was absolutely huge. And 3 years later, I don't think this one is up to the standard. However, two songs here is Raining Again and My Kind of Lady with this great sax solo, right? Were very popular, especially on the MTV. But the differences between the band members, mainly Roger and Rick, put an end to Supertramp as we known them before. Uh, there are songs that to me drag on here, like Know Who You Are or Bonnie. Uh, that are not as catchy and as compelling as some other Supertramp tracks over the years. And the same can be said about Stella Bone. The two tracks I love the most are Waiting So Long. I think this is a very good one. And the emotional Don't Leave Me Now, which happens to be the last Roger Hodgson track for Supertramp. But coming after Breakfast in America, to me, it was a letdown. Now, this is a UK pressing. I've also got a US first pressing. They all sounded very good, and Supertramp is a band easy to find good sounding records for. All you have to do is look for the trumpet logo on the run out grooves. Is there on the European pressings? Is there on the American pressings? And the only ones this time that you have to avoid is the German copies. You know, I love German albums a lot, but for Supertramp, they roll off the highs, and German albums are not quite there, right? Are not the moment you play them is not the Supertramp sound you expect. So go for UK third pressings, go for the American first pressings, go for the European third pressings with the trumpet logo, and you'll be fine. Number 5. This is a damn good album, and I don't care what people say. It's the self-titled. In the US, it wasn't released until 1977. So most people knew this album once Supertramp had become popular. Some people bought it in Canada because it was released in Canada, and in some British import stores. But to the general public, Supertramp's first album was absolutely overlooked. I think it's superb. I love it. This is one of their albums I play the most. But you have to keep an open mind when playing this album because it's not the Supertramp signature sound. It's very different. It could have been any other band. But you've got Richard Palmer here, who would later write lyrics for King Crimson. He writes the lyrics here. Surely the opening track and closing track with the piano coda is fantastic. It's a superb song. And Try Again with the electric guitar solo in crescendo is absolutely worth the price of admission. I also like Words Unspoken, Home Again, Nothing to Show, and it's an album that really grows on you. Now, a few things about it. If you have you can see that the eyes look right, but if you got the Canadian version, for some reason, the eyes look left. The rest of the world looks right. Another thing, avoid the Spanish pressings, right, of this album because they remove the coda at the end of Surely. Don't ask me why. I don't know who butchered the album in that way. As for pressings, as I said, look for the trumpet logo, and you got the 1984 UK reissue, which is on the Hallmark label, if memory serves, that is not as good as the UK or the US pressings, but still there. And The good thing about it is that you can still find near mint, almost mean copies, right? Which is essential in this album because there are many quiet passages, right? You need a very clean copy, but it's certainly an album I play regularly and that I absolutely like. My number five. Number four. Even in the quietest moments, spurred on by the hit, give a little bit. That's probably one of Supertramp's flagships, I'm sure. The album was a great success. In 1977, I could see these albums in all record shops, and the band were really, really popular. They were stars, right? Not as big as with Breakfast in America, but certainly great. Uh, Great songs, great story, great writing, great moments, right? Great mood swifts. Uh, I'm not going to talk about give a little bit, right? Because everybody knows it. I like Lover Boy, Reed Davies' song, and then even in the quietest moments and downstream are not very strong tracks, so to say. There are tracks on other albums that are much more compelling, more bluesy, and these two, to me, a bit more clinical and not quite up there, right, with the rest of their production. But that's just me. However, side two, to me, it's perfect. Babaji with this vocal intro is a treat right from the start. From now on, it's probably my favorite song from this album. The repeated chorus at the end is amazing. And we all know Fool's Overture, which is kind of a symphonic rock, but with very different approaches, a great finale, Churchill words that we will never forget, and it's what made them really, really famous in 1977. Again, look for the trumpet logo, and you got a great sounding album. There's a Canadian audiophile version that I never heard, but it goes for big bucks. So I don't know. I mean, up to you, your call. But I'm really, really happy with this one. Uh, let's move on to the top three. This is my top three. Uh, your mileage may vary, but take it with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion. It's what I like, and your mileage may vary. Absolutely. Right. So number three, Crisis. What Crisis? Fantastic album cover. I think everybody knows this album cover. It was all over the place. It refers to the oil crisis in the mid 70s, and the contrast, right, of the man just getting this sunbathe, right, amidst destruction, right. It really catches the eye. It's a pity this is not a gatefold, because the artwork really deserves it. If I didn't talk about albums, complete albums, and if I talk about sides, side A from Crisis will be my favorite Supertramp side, right? Easy Does It, Sister Moonshine, Ain't Nobody But Me, Soapbox Opera, and Another Man's Woman are absolutely excellent. 10 out of 10. This side, to me, is just perfection. But moving on to side 2, Lady is No Dreamer. I don't like Poor Boy. Just a Normal Day is okay. And the meaning is a song that Sorry for the Pun, but has no meaning to me. And Two of Us is okay as a closing track, but there's a great difference to me between side B and side A. This one was coming after Crime of the Century. It's a great album, many people's favorites, but as I said, it will be my favorite for side A, but not for the whole album. Number 2, Breakfast in America. Now, if there's ever been an album that's really popular, is this one. I remember when it came out. It was late 1979. I was 15. I listened to it at the record store before buying. Everyone was shocked. The first thing that caught your attention is the wonderful album cover, an unforgettable representation of New York and the Statue of Liberty with things from a cafeteria and a waitress. Right? Everybody knows this album cover, and again, it's a pity it wasn't gatefold. Uh, why is number two to me and not the top one? Because of Child of Vision. Unfortunately, that's a track I don't like. To me, it drags on. It's not a grand finale. It's not the kind of song that I would have chosen to wrap up the album and turn it into perfection. Otherwise, it's got many hits, you all know, Logical Song, Breakfast in America, Goodbye Stranger, Take the Long Way Home, Glorious is Mine, Casual Conversations is a favorite of mine, Oh Darling is a good song, Gone Hollywood that starts in crescendo is absolutely fantastic. The artwork, everything here is a big success. As I said, it's not my number one because of Child of Vision, but uh, your mileage measure vary, of course. And my top one, last one, Crime of the Century. I still think that this is hand on heart, Supertramp's best effort. Uh, Produced by Ken Scott, like Crisis Walk Crisis and his shows. Ken Scott started working on this after Bowie Ziggy's Stardust, and that's saying something. And he contributed to the Supertramp sound in a huge way. The album cover is again fantastic and not a weak track in here. It starts with the harmonica, school. Uh, there's a lot of social content on the album. There is a story in every single track. The album flows perfectly from one song to the other, and it makes you, play the album over and over again. It is that good. I think it's their best achievement. I love Bloody Well Right. Hide in Your Shell is one of my top Supertramp songs. It gets so emotional at the end. With the Love Me, Love You part. And Asylum, the story of Jimmy Green is fantastic. Side A is great, as good as Crisis Side A or Right There. But to me, Side B here is better than Breakfast Side B and Crisis Side B. Dreamer to me is better than Lady. Rudy is a superb song, right? And it's very well recorded. The atmosphere with the strings and the bluesy piano is to die for. Then you got If Everyone Was Listening, which might be considered the weaker track here, but it's got something to say and certainly much better than other Supertramp's tracks. And it ends with Crime of the Century, a song that was used to end concerts as well, the same way school opened the concerts. This album is a must, whether you like Supertramp or not. You need this on your shelves, and if you haven't got a copy, you've got no taste. As for presents, this is my favorite, the Speaker's Corner. I bought it for €30 a long way back when. Unfortunately, it's out of stocks, and they're asking for silly prices for this one. Just don't buy it because Speaker's Corner sometimes re-releases, right, reissues they're all pressing, so we might be lucky and get the album reissued again. Otherwise, you can go for the UK copies. They sound fantastic. US copies sound really, really good. I would skip the Germans because to me they've got too much bass. But it's an album. There's the MFSL, there's the MoFi, there are countless variations on this one. But as this album has been so well recorded, it sounds so good. So any copy is going to be fine. And that's it for Supertramp. Hope you liked my selections. Let me know what you think. Which ones are your favorite albums? Thanks for listening. Take care. See you soon.